Hello and welcome to Eat These Words. Today I am doing an old recipe. It's commonly made by farmers' wives, goes back to the medieval times, but we've got a few versions of it around these days that are more becoming to what we eat these days. So without no further ado, let's get into this. Hello to my new subscribers, I'm pleased you're here and I hope you are too. So to make my bacon and egg pie, I say my, it's not actually my pie, it's actually Marguerite Patton's bacon and egg pie, or she calls it a brunch pie. To make it you only need 5 ingredients, especially if you start off with ready rolled puff pastry, which I've got to be honest I'm doing today, which is a great shortcut if you want to do that. So what we have here is some bacon. I've got rashers of bacon, dry cured rashers of smoked bacon, just because I like smoked bacon. If you prefer normal salted bacon, use that, it's fine. 220 grams, which is round about 8 ounces of bacon there. And I've chopped it up finely. I've removed the rind because we don't want the rind. And I've chopped it up into pieces. I've got 5 eggs. I've got some chives. And I've got some parsley. It's up to you whether you put the chives and the parsley in. It's not obligatory, but it does give it a little bit of colour and a little bit of pizzazz. I'm going to start by cooking my bacon. Now, I don't want to colour my bacon. I just want to get the fat rendered out and to reduce it down slightly because it's going to be put into a pie dish. We don't want all that fat to run into the pie. It'll cause a soggy bottom, and you know what Mary Berry says, we don't want a soggy bottom. So we're going to be doing a bit of frying. So start with a cold pan. That's your best option when you don't want to colour something. And pop your bacon bits in, spread them out a little bit. Then wash your hands because we don't want bacon all over everything. And we're going to let this render. Rendering just means getting rid of fat. The reason why we don't want it crispy is because it's going in a pie and we want it to be moist. We don't want it to be dry. And if you make it crispy, it will be a dry pie, which we don't want. So we'll keep an eye on that while we go and do something else. I've got some ready rolled puff pastry, which is a lifesaver when you don't want to make. And you want it on the table quite quickly, isn't it, really? I hate pastry, I've got to be honest, hate making it. Hence the ready rolled. Okay, this is Tesco's version, but you can use any one you want. I'm going to be putting it into this 9-inch flan dish. It's got a loose bottom on it. It does have a loose bottom, which is very good when you're wanting to get it out of the tin. There's always problems when you come to releasing said items, isn't there? Holes help with the airflow and help to crisp up the bottom a lot quicker and a lot better really. Now I'm going to cut this because the thing with egg and bacon pie is that there's many different versions of egg and bacon pie out there in different countries and across the UK. It's very similar to quiche Lorraine, however we don't use cheese and we don't use milk. So just to show you what's happening with my bacon, as you can see there, I put no oil in my pan or fat, and the fat is starting to come out now, look. And that's what we're looking for. We want to try and get as much of it out as possible so that our pie isn't going to be too wet without browning our meat. So keep moving it around, keep checking it and moving it every few minutes. So this is my bacon. It's just finished cooking. As you can see, it's still not brown, but it's cooked. And I'm going to pop it into this bowl here to drain all the fat off. We don't want the fat in there, and we need it to cool down as well before we put it into our pie dish. So in it goes. So while my bacon is cooling down and draining of its fat, what I'm going to do is line my pie dish. I would recommend using a metal pie dish or tray simply because the heat will conduct better and it'll cause the bottom to cook well. If you use a pot one, it will take longer for that one to heat up and it may result in a soggy bottom. So I'm just going to extend this piece of pastry. We need to thin it out a little bit because it is a little bit thick for my liking. And I'm going to just pop that on there and rub that over my rolling pin and then just go outwards. I've left it on the paper just so it's easier to get onto the pie dish. Now all I'm doing is taking the base, which is another reason why we need a good loose base, and checking how much there is either side. Could do with a bit more because the side of the tray is about that, so that going. Now I know Marguerite Patton, who wrote this recipe down in the 70s and called it a brunch pie. I know she was instrumental in making rations go further during the war. She was probably the first British, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first British popular chef, cook, whatever you want to call it, celebrity chef. Now the first writing of this was in 1769 by a lady called Elizabeth Raffold. She was a housekeeper in many establishments and wrote a book called, The Experienced Housekeeper, in which this recipe features. French like to call it quiche Lorraine. Us Brits call it what it is, egg and egg pie. Once you've got your pastry rolled out to the correct thickness, it's time to pop it into your oops, that was good, wasn't it? Into your flan tray. So just turn it over and it should go, look at that. Oh, love it. Keep hold of this, you need it. We're going to use it to push into our flan tray here because this is crimped on the edges, so I'm gonna pop it in and just push it against the side, which will help it to go in to each of those crevices, and just lift the edge and push in. As they say, that's the way to do it. You will see in one area, in one part, that it's not covered the edge here, don't worry. We're going to trim the edge, so. Get a sharp knife for this, guys. If you don't have a sharp knife, it won't work. Taking a small piece, we're just going to nudge it in. Now the beauty of this is nobody will see it, only you will know it's there. Okay. And then just chop it off. Once you've done that, it's time to fill it. And then I'm going to place that in here. So we need to just sprinkle it around the base here. If you don't want to use streaky bacon, you could use ham if you wanted. It's not traditional, but it is very good. Or you could use lardons. It's up to you. Lardons are just bigger chunks of bacon. Okay, spread it out. I'm going to put some eggs in. So I've got 5 eggs here. And we're going to crack them and very carefully keep them whole and pop them into your dish. And you're thinking, why am I keeping them whole? In this area, we tend to keep them whole. Oops, I've got a bit of shell there, don't want shell. This is how my family made it. So that's how I'm making it. Now, if you want to add more, you can do. I'm adding 5 because I think that's enough for this family, but I might need to add 1 more. Last one. Put it over here, shall I? Do not try and move these around once they're in there, it won't work. So I like a little bit of an onion. I like a bit of an onion twist on mine. You don't have to put this in. It is traditional not to have many herbs in this, so please feel free to put what you want in here. I know what my husband's going to say, it's green. Sprinkle of parsley for a bit of flavour. And the next thing is a bit of pepper. I'm not putting salt in because there's plenty of salt in the bacon. We don't really need any. So pepper. So now to do the top of your pie. I didn't have enough short crust pastry. I thought the pack that I had enough in it, and I didn't. So there's a word to the wise, make sure you've got enough. However, I do have some puff pastry in the cupboard, which is just as good. So I'm going to use that. It's not authentic, but it's just as good. And we make do when we haven't got. I've cut a piece of pastry. I've got a base, a 9-inch base, and I've checked that it kind of fits. I just need to, as I did before with the base, just make it a little bit bigger by rolling it out a bit more. See how that is? Bang on. Just cut it slightly bigger, but we'll do our best. And so long as it's more or less right, we'll be fine. Pop that to one side for a moment. Bring in my pie. Then take in my pastry. I'll just take it off that. Thank you very much. And lay it on the top. Now, I'm just going to squish it down on the sides, so. And I'm going to go and get a bit of milk. We're going to milk wash it. Just normal everyday milk. And I'm going to just brush it on the inside. And that will just, it's just to seal it. We're not actually adding milk to this. It's just to seal it. You could use egg if you want to. That's up to you. And then just give it a little squeeze on the side to ensure that it's sealed. Now then, on this one, I'm going to brush the top, but we're not going to put a hole in the top. We want the steam to steam the eggs, so we do not want a hole in the top. Set your oven to gas mark 7. And I'll put the conversions on the screen for you. And we're going to pop this in the oven for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to reduce the heat to gas mark 6. Again, conversions on the screen now for you. And do it for a further 10. It might take slightly longer, it may not. It just depends really on your oven. Okay. So my pie has come out of the oven. This is it here. It took 25 minutes at gas mark 7. And 15 minutes at gas mark 4, and this is the end result. And it came out of the tin, no bother at all. So I'm just going to cut it up. It's still warm, it's not hot. I've let it sit for about an hour before I do anything with it. And there is, can you see that? The pie. I'll just show you on there, look at that. That is what we're aiming for. Pop this to one side and just show you the rest of it. There you go, look at that. This is my... If you like what I'm doing, hit me up with a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and that'll tell you about any videos of mine that are coming to your inbox. I don't post all the time because this is a hobby for me, nothing else. So if you do wish to subscribe, be aware I won't be bombarding you with anything. It is free to subscribe as well. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely week, and for now, peace out.